Have you ever seen a bird so confident it will scare away bigger birds and bigger creatures than itself? Meet the red-winged blackbird, the tiny warrior of the wetlands. These tiny birds might be just the size of a small American robin, but they pack quite the punch in defending their own territories. Today we're looking into everything you need to know about the red-winged blackbird. Let's dive in. As always, we're going to start with the males. Males have an overall black body, dark black conical bill, yellow stripe on their shoulders, and a thicker red shoulder. Females are brown overall, and they're very, very streaky. In fact, in a lot of cases, people get these confused with other birds. In the ABA What's This Bird Facebook page, a lot of people ask, what's this bird? A lot of times it ends up being a red-winged blackbird, but a female. The females also have a yellow wash around the bill. It's also important to note that the males can actually hide the red on their shoulders to make it a lot less visible. They can be found year-round throughout the United States, and during their breeding season in the warmer months, you can actually find them in small parts of Alaska and halfway into Canada as well. I just realized that my phone memory filled up, and so the last 3 minutes of what I recorded is gone. So we're gonna start that part over right now. The inside to YouTube is a lot of fun. During the breeding season, red-winged blackbirds spend a lot of their time in wetland areas, and during the non-breeding season, they spend a lot more of their time in agricultural fields or grasslands. During the warmer months, red-winged blackbirds typically mainly eat insects, and during the colder months, they typically focus on eating seeds. And obviously this is to sustain a diet in warm or cold weather. It's really, really effective and has allowed them to spread across the entirety of the United States. Male red-winged blackbirds will spend the entirety of breeding season singing at the highest point of the cattails or phragmites that they find themselves in the wetlands. Females tend to be closer to the ground, foraging for food, and also looking to build their nests as well. During the breeding season, male and female red-winged blackbirds are extremely territorial. They'll defend their territories from other birds, larger predators, sometimes 10 times the size of the red-winged blackbird. They'll even dive bomb humans if you are considered to be an intruder or dangerous to their babies or their territory as a whole. So watch out, they're coming for you. Due to a lack of suitable wetland habitat within North America, red-winged blackbirds pack in really, really tight. This has caused about 15 females on average to mate with one male red-winged blackbird. Although the females still do get around, and sometimes they'll go mate with another red-winged blackbird that's a male outside of their territory, behind their main male's back. In the fall and winter months, red-winged blackbirds will actually flock with other blackbirds, grackles, and cowbirds, creating super flocks of over 1 million birds. And these will typically be hanging out in agricultural fields or grasslands, as mentioned before. Red-winged blackbirds build their nests really low to the ground among the phragmites, cattails, alfalfa fields, wheat or barley fields, and they'll build these nests very low to the ground as well. The females will build the nest, and they'll string together grass-like plant material. And any gaps that are in the nest, they will fill in with mud. This will make a perfect cup shape, and in that cup, they'll fill it with grass for a nice, comfortable, no place like home feeling. When finished, the nest is typically between 4 and 7 inches wide and 3 to 7 inches deep. Red-winged blackbirds typically have 2 to 4 eggs per clutch, which means how many eggs total, and 1 to 2 broods per year. That just means how many times do they lay eggs per year, if you're not familiar with the terminology. Their eggs are a palish, bluish, greenish color, and they have black and brown speckles on them. Typically, their incubation is about 2 weeks long, with an additional 2 weeks for the nestling stage before the chicks are ready to take off and head out. Red-winged blackbirds, like a whole bunch of other birds, have a very positive impact on our ecosystems. They help control insects, for example, but they also help to disperse seeds. So depending on what time of the year, they're either controlling insects to create a healthier ecosystem, a more balanced ecosystem, or they're dispersing seeds, to help spread plants around different parts of an ecosystem as well. If you're looking for the red-winged blackbird, make sure you listen carefully. Most of the time you're gonna hear them from half a mile away before you ever see them. They have a really big, powerful call, which I'll play right now. But also, if you go to any body of water in forested habitat, especially wetlands with Phragmites or cattails. I keep saying Phragmites. In a lot of states, Phragmites is actually an invasive plant species that has kicked out cattails, but that's where you'll find them depending on whether you have cattails or Phragmites that have taken over. You can also attract red-winged blackbirds to your yard by either scattering sunflower seeds on the ground or getting a large platform feeder for them to come feed. I will mention though that this will happen during the winter months, so you'll have probably a super flock come in, hundreds of birds, if not thousands of birds, swarming the feeder at once, eating your seed within the first 10 minutes that they arrive. It's pretty amazing, and if you have the budget, I encourage you to set out the seed for the birds. But just be aware that it could be a traumatizing experience for someone who just has one little itty bitty feeder and only buys one bag of seed per year. So I mentioned that they can actually puff these out or they can hide them. When you see them puffed out, that means they're claiming this territory when they're bright red and puffed out. But when you see that they've shrunken and they're hidden, that probably means that this red-winged blackbird is in another red-winged blackbird's territory and doesn't want to incite any type of violence, saying, hey, I surrender, you're the boss. So it's very interesting that these birds have a social hierarchy based off of that red patch on their wings. It serves a purpose. Red-winged blackbirds are actually really, really smart as well. If a bird eats something that makes them sick, the other birds actually learn to avoid that thing and they don't actually go eat it as well. This is a learned behavior, obviously, and it's something that the birds can observe in the moment and then avoid right away. So pretty intelligent creatures, the red-winged blackbird. Red-winged blackbirds also have an enemy in the marshy wetlands, and that is the marsh wren. Now, marsh wrens, as you know, also nest in these wetlands, but they're actually known to puncture red-winged blackbird nests and actually kill their nestlings. So there's an ongoing war that most of us aren't aware of as we walk our dogs or walk down the fun little walking path right next to the beautiful little wetlands of red-winged blackbirds versus marsh wrens, and it gets pretty violent and intense. This causes red-winged blackbirds to actually clump their nests in close so they can have a strength in numbers against the tiny, menacing little marsh wren. Although red-winged blackbirds are considered a species of least concern, meaning that their conservation status is looking pretty good, they have still declined about 30% since the 1960s. Obviously, a lot of birds are taking a dive, but it is very important to vote for policies that encourage us to protect our natural spaces, especially the wetlands, to help have land set aside for these majestic, beautiful, iconic birds. Let me know in the comments below, what does the red-winged blackbird mean to you? Remember that over on my other channel, Bright-Eyed Birding, I go on birding adventures 2 times a week and I take you with me. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you all next time on Bright-Eyed Birding Learn.